Hi, I'm Crystal Carolina, aka Cryscoworld. Welcome to my first podcast episode of Confessions of a Former Tóxica.
Vengo a decirle a la que no me supo amar, que chingue su madre.
In this podcast, we are going to talk about things that people don't normally talk about. I feel like everybody says that. We're going to talk about things that nobody talks about. Like, everybody says that. Y todos hablan de lo mismo. In this episode, I'm going to try to keep it real. I used to be a tóxica, and it takes a lot of work to unbecome one. And a lot of that work is exposing yourself to yourself, not being afraid to look in the mirror and be like, oye, como que algo no está funcionando aquí y hay que cambiar. So I did and have been doing a lot of that. And es un proceso que it takes time, and I'm still doing it, okay? So I decided to start a podcast, not right away, not overnight, not yesterday. I didn't just decide this. Ya tengo como más de un año planning this podcast and really trying to put it together. I feel like I have been through things that a lot of people have gone through, and that when we go through them, queremos buscar other people that también están pasando por lo mismo and can kind of make us feel less alone. If I could have found somebody back when I was first going through what I was going through que hablara de lo que estaba pasando without shame and without judgment, then I think it would have really helped me avoid a lot of additional traumas that I myself inflicted. Would have avoided a lot of hurt, because I know I've hurt a lot of people. And so in saying Confessions of a Former Tóxica, I'm not saying I'm proud to have been a person that would cause turmoil, but I am kind of like Emineming myself, you know, like when Eminem went up and was like, yeah, I'm this, yeah, I'm that, like, what are you gonna say about it? Like, I know where I come from. Y yo creo que es algo igual in me saying that, like, I know I haven't been perfect, and I know, like, I know. With that, I want to talk about what my start was in the content creation world y qué fue lo que creo que pasó that kind of caused me to become stagnant and like fall off and not really get to where I wanted to go as quickly, porque todavía sé que hay más tiempo que vida. I don't know if that's what applies to what I'm going with right now, but that I have a lot of time to still achieve the things that I want to achieve. And I hope I'm not like jinxing myself by saying that, pero estoy diciendo que todo pasa cuando tiene que pasar. When I first got my start on social media, it was through a transformation video. I posted my glute transformation y cómo fue que crecí sin un video, porque trust me, I wanted one, but I couldn't afford one. And I had to do it the other way, which is working out and eating and having good genetics, porque I know it's all part of it. Pero basically, it started with that video, and that got me a lot of followers on my fitness Instagram. People were trying my plan because it was a plan that I am very proud of, that I actually put research into. Like, I actually put it in a very specific order for a very specific reason. Like, I didn't just like, oh, let's do this one and then this one and then this one. Like, sí tenía su chiste. So the fact that people were sending me back transformation pictures was like I felt like a little scientist, like, you know, it was cool. So I posted another video, and then that one went viral, and then it happened pretty fast, like within like 2 months, que llegué to 95K on TikTok and 35K on Instagram. And when I started off, that hadn't been like what I set out to do. It kind of just unfolded that way. Being an influencer is one thing. Now, being known for something is another. And I was known for making your butt grow. So I got a lot of messages about people wanting to change what they look like because of XYZ. And oftentimes that was really hard experiences that they had went through. So I was pretty much receiving hundreds of messages from people all over the world, all over the world, of all ages, just opening up to me about their insecurities and why they wanted to look differently and like who they were comparing themselves to. And I started to like feel very much unqualified. I started getting a lot of like emails and brands that wanted to work with me, and they were like brands that you see a lot of people kind of push out, and I didn't want to just push out anything knowing that I had all these people watching me looking to me as like someone that they trusted, because I know I remember at that time there was this guy who was really big in the glute world, and people would literally comment like, "Oh my god, I trust him with my life." And go after other creators and like tag his name in their comments and be like, "What do you think of this? What do you think of that?" And then the guy would like say what he thought, and people were like, be like, "Oh yeah, don't listen to her anymore." And it was just very like, I could see how quick people were to put someone in such a position of decision making. Like to say I trust you with my life, I know is an exaggeration, pero a la vez, if this man or whoever está diciéndote que compres esto o eso, or like do this or do that, you're gonna do it. It's just it's just what happens. And so I didn't want to be in that position. I was like, you know what? Like I feel like I go through too much, too many ups and downs to be someone looked at like that. So I stopped posting as much, and then slowly just altogether, like I would go live and people would work out with me. It was during quarantine. And then I got COVID. And then I got paralyzed from my face. And it just was like one thing after another that I just kind of was like, I disappeared. I started manifesting, and I manifested moving out. And then I started posting again y me estaba yendo bien. Pero luego otra vez fui para abajo, and all of a sudden it was like more things started happening. And in my culture, when things start going wrong, when you start acting out of character, when it just seems to be like one thing after another, we typically tend to jump to te están haciendo algo, es brujería, te están echando la sal, te hicieron ojo, whatever, 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 whatever. Y energy is real. Energy work is real. All of that stuff is real. So, en saber que es real y en saber que sí puede pasar y que probablemente, probable, that's probably actually happening. You kind of, I guess, get stuck on that. Y a veces uno no considera las otras cosas que puede estar pasando. You know, why is it that it seems that every couple of months or every couple of days, que things seem to start to go downhill? So, fast forward a little bit, I started different TikTok, and this one goes viral for bailes. I had a video from Pico Rivera go viral, and then I had a video about another video about going to Pico, and then I had a dance tutorial go viral, and this is what really increased my following on this new page. Y que empiezo a agarrar mensajes de que let me put you on this flyer, let me get you over here, blah blah blah, let's do this video. Y otra vez with all of a sudden everything starts going wrong, and I start acting out of character, doing crazy things. This time did land me in the hospital twice. Y pues pasaron muchas cosas feas que ahora sí tuve que considerar que a lo mejor era algo más que just brujería. Perhaps it was something bigger, porque sí andaba pasando cosas feas during that time que I did honestly feel like I was being spiritually attacked. And I know how that sounds. I know how that sounds sometimes, like, oh, okay. Pero son cosas que pues guardo para otro día, pero que sí, it's hard to deny that something spiritual is going on. It's hard to say, like, it was all in your head. But I do have to address the fact that having ended up in the hospital and having been there for a long time, sí dijeron que what I was experiencing was an episode. And I was diagnosed as bipolar. And I have my feelings about that porque en mi tiempo de estar leyendo and haciendo all this research on spirituality, I also did it on psychology. I also wanted to take a scientific approach, a Western approach, para decir, Western uh, culture versus, ya dijéramos, indigenous culture or like Eastern spirituality. I wanted to kind of take a look at all of it because I was trying to find what would work, what would help me. And in my research of psychology, parece que mucho de los estudios are not actually like for the benefit of the people that are supposedly mentally ill. Like it seems it's more like como que when you're studying it, it's like to prevent it, to it's just I didn't like the approach. I didn't like the approach to how autism is studied. Autism is one of the things that I was 100% sure that I had, which I will do another episode on. But I was pretty sure that I was autistic, and I still think that I am. But I did my research and I didn't like it. And in me saying I didn't like it doesn't mean I don't agree with it because I just don't like it. I feel like there's a lot of sexism and a lot of uh, lack of consideration in that there's so many different ways to exist. Que hay cosas que psychology can't explain, but things in spirituality that spiritual no, how do I say this? Que how do I say this? Que personas pasan por cosas que la psicología no tiene las palabras para definir lo que está pasando, pero también al revés. Pasan cosas psicológicamente que, aunque más que quieras, it's not brujería and it's not spirituality, spiritual attacks. Like, it's not that. It's just a lo mejor su cerebro is misfiring something, and no necesariamente tiene que decir que it's because alguien está pagando so that happens. It could literally just be because that's what your brain is doing. And that's why I think it's important to consider all of it when trying to get better. So, with the question of is what someone is experiencing, is it brujeria or is it mental illness? I have to say that I feel like it's both. And what I experienced is a lot like what other people have experienced that you see on the media. And what I find interesting is that when these people experience these things publicly, public opinion on it doesn't necessarily seem to help in terms of que va a haber gente that's adding to the fuel of, for example, if we look at Ryan Garcia, who I do believe is experiencing or was experiencing a manic episode. It does seem like he's kind of come off of it, and that's why he's not so like rushed and erratic. Like he's still firm on what he was saying, which is because I'm not saying that what he wasn't saying isn't real or isn't true, but in the moment that he was experiencing this desire, this need to save the children, like right now, like I need to expose right now, like that sense of urgency, I do feel is what is indicative of him having experienced an episode. Now, with everybody jumping on and saying like, oh, now that he's calmer, he's been cloned or this or that or this or that, and then they bring in Kanye, comparing him to Kanye when Kanye is also diagnosed bipolar. And I've seen him also compared to, it's like another YouTuber, I think, I don't know how to pronounce it, Fauzi. He also went through an episode and is bipolar. Just other kind of like outbursts like that they have compared him to, those people are experiencing something that causes them to have episodes. So it's almost like the proof is right there. Like you're literally answering your own question. But people obviously prefer to believe the bigger story, which is expose the elites, take them down, they got them. That's a better story than he's having an episode and all of the controversies he's ever looked into are all coming together in his mind to project a reality that's coming after him. Because that's what it is. It's a reality that you're experiencing that no one else seems to be, unless they're also tapped into that same wavelength that you're on. Because I refuse to say that somebody experiencing, make sure my alarm doesn't go, it should have gone off. I put it for 9 a.m., didn't I? I did. Good thing I checked. I put it for 9:48 a.m. and it's 9:49 p.m. Okay, 52. I refuse to say that somebody experiencing an episode is crazy and is on their own with it. And that whatever they're seeing, whatever they're perceiving is just in their head and that they need help and da da da. Because let me tell you, when I was experiencing my episode, I promise you that I was like hearing people's thoughts, but they were also hearing mine. And I don't mean it in like I could literally hear your thoughts, but it was like we were on a frequency and I could feel it. And so I think that being in an episode is a lot like jamming up your frequency like a radio, like raising it up, and it just becomes so much and you literally like reach a point where like you think you don't need as much sleep, you think you don't need like you just literally start feeling different. And that's why they say the whole like they feel godly and they feel like, you know, all this stuff. And it's because we're literally like amped up. And it's so hard for me, it's so hard for me to listen to somebody who's never been through it try to explain it to you, like try to be like, well, like, no, be quiet, because unless you've been on this side of it, there's no way that you can tell or sit there and be like, you're, it's all in your head. Like, no, it's, see, it's all in my head, but like, it's not just that. Like, I promise you, we're connected. Like, and it's so funny. I literally read this in a book. It's called Be Here Now. I thought I had it here. I don't think I have it here. I have it somewhere because I'm going to read it, but I don't know where that somewhere is. Cause like I said, things have been a little bit all over the place. Pero in the book, it says that in your spiritual journey, you will reach a point where you feel so good that you just want to shout it to the world. You want to shout it to the rooftops and da 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 da, and you like understand all these things, and you want to let everybody know, and they're gonna just look at you and call you crazy. They're gonna say you've gone into psychosis, and it's all one and the same. It's the same shit. So brujeria or mental illness, it's both. It's both in different ways, and I want to get into that more. So that's where I'm at. But we're gonna save that for another episode because I gotta go to a late dinner with my father, and we need to save topics for the other episodes. So, nos vemos. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Please comment your thoughts on what you think about having to combine multiple ideologies in order to really get better. With that, I mean, it's important to implement both psychology and spiritual beliefs when wanting to get better. Porque todo cuenta. También lo físico, working out, but that's for another day. Okay, thank you. Bye. I'm so awkward at this. This is me signing out. 10-4. 10-4? And cut. Let me try that again. Thank you for watching our podcast. Next episode, we will talk a lot. Next episode, we'll talk a little bit more about my episode. I do have a couple of guests that I have already asked to be a part of this discourse, this podcast, and I am hoping to travel to them soon. So stay tuned. Back to you. Back to me. Back to we. We are never, ever, ever getting back together. We are never, ever. Oh, I gotta go. Bye. And cut. Like, comment, subscribe.